What's good, everybody? It's your man Big Doug coming live at you, the True Players podcast, with a special guest host. As you guys know, he's been a special guest host on my previous episodes. My man JoeyG coming live and at you from Lawrenceville, Georgia. JoeyG, hit him up.
What's going on? This is man JoeyG on here on the True Players podcast. Just ready to get in.
Guys, to be honest, the reason why we're doing this podcast is because we have a special special issue that we want to talk about today in regards to the tragic shootings in both Dayton, Ohio, and in Paso, Texas, and how it affects the immigrants in this country, and how those particular attacks were centralized to hurt immigrants in this country, to criminalize immigrants in this country, and how the news media, specifically Fox News, has labeled the two shooters as mentally ill because they're white. Now we both know. Let's be real about this. Every time a black person or a Latino person does something wrong, they're a criminal. They either need to be deported or get locked on under the jail cell. But yet, when a white person does it, there's something called, they like to use mental illness, that he came from a single family home. If you're gonna say he has mental illness, then you got to label everyone who's a racist as a person who has mental illness. If you're gonna use that,
correct?
Because this particular attack has nothing to do with mental illness. It was a racist attack on immigrants, people of color, and this has been going on for years, guys. And people got to sit there, especially the white folks, got to sit there and look themselves in the mirror and realize that they're not mentally ill. They're just racist. They just solve the inner demons in their bodies, in their souls about the racism. Because racism, we talk about the four devils: jealousy, envy, hate. Jealousy, envy, and the two other devils, those which I'm totally like brain freeze right now. But I consider racism also a devil, because the racism creates division, and that's how the devil operates. He operates in division, not in unity. When everyone's in unison, he has no place there. When everyone's divided, he has a place everywhere. And the thing is that with these particular shootings, excuses are being made for one particular race of people, and everyone else is criminals. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
White people are not the only people that come from single family homes. There's black people come from single family homes. People come from single family homes. But you never see or hear on the news about how a black man or a Latino man shoot up schools. Never heard of that.
No. Highly unlikely.
You know what I'm saying? And this is a situation where it's being fueled by the very so-called president of the United States.
I called him self-proclaimed because I don't claim him.
I don't claim him either. But and the thing is that when Obama politically got at him, he got upset and threw it in Obama's face. Oh, there was mass shootings ever since Obama was president. But the thing is that the difference is the mass shootings that happened under Obama's presidency was retaliation of him being black and being in the Oval Office.
Okay.
These attacks are fueled by rhetoric by a president that says it's okay to do that. Go on, keep doing it. Come on, we gotta get these immigrants out of here. Keep shooting them, keep killing them. This is the rhetoric that's been delivered. That's where the difference comes into play, in my opinion. What do you think, man?
Well, as far as racism goes, I know it's systemic. It comes from histories of being taught, passed down generations to generations. I've talked with racists before. I try to understand them as far as where they're coming from and their points of views. And to me, it feels like it's just a frame of mind. Like anything, you have your, I use religion as an example. You have extremists and everything.
Right.
They take patriotism to the next level. You know what I'm saying? You have your favorite sports team.
Right.
And people just take it to the extremes. They get into fights and everything like that. Even in soccer, you still have those type of fights and brawls and everything like that. Now, person on the outside don't understand that. But the person that's in it, as far as the football teams are concerned, and they're really in it,
right,
they're willing to die for that.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Is it a form of mental illness? Yes, I feel like it is. I feel it's over obsession with it. You know what I'm saying? And Donald Trump takes it to a next level by stirring the pot. He likes to stir the pot, make sure that it's continually hot. Fox News backs his words, and they use different people in positions to verify what he's talking about. Now, to me, the outsider looking in, it does not make sense. Right. As a journalist, I know there are journalists out there. You have to do your due diligence. We're talking about facts. We're not talking about opinions. I don't want to hear opinions. I want to hear fact. Fact is, there was a shooting. Fact is, Donald Trump backed it before there was a shooting. The shooter actually took his words and was like, these are the means I'm going to use to go fuel the shooting.
Exactly.
Now, the shooting happens, and all of a sudden now he has a mental illness. He has a mental illness. Yeah, we know that nigga's crazy, but but he was fueled by something. Something sent him over the top.
Okay. I
don't know how many people watched. What was it? Higher Learning.
Right.
Remy.
I remember Higher Learning. My man Michael Rappaport was the racist in that movie.
Yeah, Michael Rappaport did a hell of a job.
Hell yeah. But he's our brother, though. He's a New Yorker. So
yeah, he's a New Yorker from Brooklyn.
Story, you know,
Brooklyn.
Story.
he got his card.
Exactly.
He got his card. Exactly. But I use that as an example because that's the type of thing Remy had to go through in the movie. From the beginning, he was brought into it, and he became a radicalist.
Right.
After being fed so many things, after experiencing certain things, which he culturally didn't understand.
Right.
We as Black people know we're going to rank on you.
Basically.
We're going to rank on you. But in the end of everything, it's all good. We're going to walk away from it like, yo, I'll see you tomorrow.
Right.
It's nothing to take to heart. And I feel that's a thing that's being done a lot. Empathy is being lost.
Right.
And they're trying to point fingers at, it's done because of video games. It's done because there was a single family home and there was no father around and things of that nature. You know how many people that are incarcerated right now came from a single family home?
Right.
That didn't commit no type of shooting like that. A mass shooting.
A mass shooting at a Walmart. At all places, at a Walmart. We try to get some food. We try to get some stuff for the house. We get shot at. For what?
We didn't travel in a car 8 hours.
Mm-hmm. Some people there to get their tires changed or some shit. Come on, man.
Come on. That's ridiculous. I agree with a lot of people are saying right now that they have to evaluate them going out in public, like going to the movies. We have to evaluate, is there an exit strategy? What we do if we're getting into these type of altercations? If we go to the supermarket, do we have to prepare for this? How are we going to, it just takes away those little comfortabilities that we normally have to worry about something like this happening.
Exactly. And another thing too, that if it was someone of our ilk, or if it was a person from the Middle East, it was a Black person, Latino person, we're labeled terrorists. It was a terrorist act. Yeah. But yet, when a white person does it, he has mental illness.
Yeah.
Why is it different? Why is it different?
The act that he committed, killing 20 people in a row, injuring 26, I believe the number is, that's an act of terrorism. It's domestic terrorism. But it's terrorism nonetheless. And it was homegrown.
Exactly.
It's domestic. It's not foreign. He's not foreigner.
Exactly.
Now, if you really want to be technical, his parents may be immigrants.
That's the malfunction we have with that particular race of people. They believe they were not immigrants. They believe they have right to this land,
No,
and it would be
that's
no.
that's a farce. That's a
It's a,
farce.
it's a, it's a blatant fallacy. You know what I'm saying? I'm sick and tired of looking at these buffoons, these degenerates. I'm gonna keep it real with you. This is the True Players podcast. We keep it grimy, keep it real, we keep it gully. And these are a bunch of degenerates who are in our Congress. Majority of them in our Congress supporting a degenerate president who
Mhm.
wants to go out there and freaking lead a civil war.
Mhm.
That's what it's all about. It's only the civil war in this country, which if it ever would come to that, there'll be no winners. There'll be all losers. There'll be blood spilled all over the streets. It's not worth that. It's time for people, all races, to sit down collectively as brothers and sisters and realize, listen, I have a problem. You have a problem. I have a problem. Let's find a way to solve it, to come together, to be unified
Right.
once and for all.
We
This
talk
joke,
about it.
this joke of this constant joke that's been going on for the past 400 years.
Mhm.
You're criminalizing black people. Last time I checked, black people didn't go into other people's lands and give them syphilis and sexually transmitted diseases, take their lands, shook hands with the people then and then stab them in the back. I never heard no black man do that.
Or for a piece of paper that has no value.
You know what I'm saying? Last time I checked, last time the person who did that was the person that did that was actually Christopher Columbus, but he got a holiday.
Right.
And he's not the only one.
No.
He's the most prominent one. You know what I'm saying? So this is and it's been a disease that's been going on for years. Only reason why you see it in plain sight now because you have a president who backs it.
Yeah. You have a president that backs it. The things that was behind closed doors,
It's out in the open.
it's out in the open. Now, you come down south, in certain parts of the south, you'll actually see it blatantly. But for the
Right.
most part, I will say that when they say Southern hospitality, you are treated as such with the hellos and the good mornings and things of that nature. It's very comfortable as far as that. But don't get it twisted. There's also the other coin, the other side of the coin, where it's blatant and it's in your face, and they don't care. It's unapologetic.
Blatant in your face, and they don't give a two shits about it.
No, but I would rather that because I know where you stand.
I know where you stand, and you don't expect me to help you either. Don't expect me to help you either in your darkest hour. Don't expect me to help you.
I understand where you stand as far as that's concerned. I mean, I held no ill will towards anybody of that. I just wish that they can broaden their minds and see more realistically what's going on in the world. Because honestly, that is not the way things should be going in that direction. Especially after 9/11.
Especially at 9/11, how we all came together because we were actually legitimately attacked by a terrorist organization.
Right. Legitimately, we were attacked in that situation, and we did come together. We forgot about race, and we actually became patriots
Mm-hmm.
and camaraderie. There was camaraderie as far as after that. Like, okay, we stand for America. This is not going to happen again. I don't know if it was all over the country, but I know how we felt in New York at the time, where it felt like, yo, you're not bringing that here again. Like,
Right.
it may have happened, but we're still going to stand. We're going to rise up after that and continue to be great.
Exactly. I mean, let me just touch upon another side of this equation too. And I've seen pictures all over Facebook, all over the internet, how Eric Garner gets choked out for selling Lucy's, and
Right.
while this guy, whether it's Dylan Roof or the guy that did the shootings in El Paso, Texas, or Dayton, Ohio, they get taken to Burger King or McDonald's for a supersized Big Mac meal or a Whopper meal.
Right.
Another thing too, do you remember that bombing in New York a few years back in time around what's in Times Square? It was a little bit further down because I remember I was in that city that day. That terrorist guy from the Middle East, he was from Jersey. He put some pipe bombs or some shit in New
Yeah.
York,
Mm-hmm.
and he was shooting at cops. He was taken alive.
Mm-hmm.
But Eric Garner was choked out for selling Lucy's, and no one thinks anything's wrong with that.
No, The only thing the way I can explain that is it's almost like the Hindu religion,
Right.
where they have different levels of stature and how we're looked at in society.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in that, we pretty much are the lowest on the totem pole as far as that's concerned. Now, women may be above us as far as that's concerned. Animal rights activists,
Mm-hmm.
gay and lesbian community,
Right.
and then you have the rest
Right.
of the echelons.
Right.
But until we're actually across the board on level playing field,
Right.
across the board, where we're looking at, oh, okay, we're all human beings coming to the table. We all deserve equal treatment, equal rights, and things of that nature. It's never going to change. Because right now, if you're the lowest on the totem pole, what do I want you to speak for?
Right.
I don't want you to even have a voice. To me, you're just a piece, you're just in the room.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If we could get out of that mentality, somehow create a way to get past that, I feel there's an opening for change. Until we get past that, everybody's like, what is the one thing that we have to do? If we can get past that, I feel like we have something going on. Now, if we really want to explore that option of change, then we have to get where the money is. We have to be involved where the money is. We have to create those laws. We have to be involved in those politics.
Exactly.
There's more people that need to be involved. If we're sitting back on the opposite end of the TV, just looking at the screen, it's not going to help us. We could talk all day. We could write all the books that we want. But until we get involved as far as politically, lawmaking, states, whatever level you want to go to in your community,
Right.
it's not going to change.
No.
Cops are not going to change. Cops are not going to change because that's what they're supposed to do. That's what they're supposed to do. The slave master had somebody on the farm, that the overseer, or
Right.
officer overseer.
You ain't lying about that.
It's not too far fetched. Trust me when I tell you. If you look at the laws and the way they're written out, there's laws that are still in play that were from back in the day that still have impact on what goes on in courtrooms today. That's why a white man could come to court and get out on bail, bonds, or something like that, and a black man or minority can go to jail and be hit with a book for 15 years plus, whatever the case may be, for the same crime.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's already laws in play that were never taken out.
Right.
And it all goes back to that racism we were talking about. The laws were made in that fashion.
And you know what? One of the things too. The thing that bothers me is that a lot of people think the system is broken. The system is not broken. The system is biased.
It is a biased system.
It's not broken. It's biased. Let's get that completely honestly clear out the water. It's biased.
Mm-hmm. What's good for some is not good for all.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But since I write the laws, I'm gonna write the laws to work for me only.
Why not? If I was in power, why not?
Exactly.
Well, I was gonna make it work for the people that have this type of money. Well, let's make it work together. I get it, mm-hmm. But it doesn't work across the board.
Definitely. But I'm gonna hit you with another thing too about that officer in Pantaleo in New York, the one that choked out Eric Garner.
Okay.
Apparently, De Blasio was taking the task at one of the Democratic debates about his handling about the situation and how the family, Eric Garner's family, have not received justice. And he did mention that he's going to try to get justice for them, in which now the judge in New York deemed that the officer must be fired for his actions that happened against Eric Garner getting choked out. Mm-hmm. And then you hear the PBA president speaking, and he's telling the officers, call your supervisor before you interact with a person, this, that, and the other. That's not the problem. Mm. You need to interact with people with the same respect for everybody.
All right.
You can't roll up to a black person and then also you want to yoke him up and not tell him what he did and not ask him without asking to comply.
Right.
If you come at any person aggressively, they're gonna respond aggressively. It's a natural state of that's nature. Fight or flight. You know what I'm saying?
If you're already coming from an aggressive area, I grew up in an aggressive environment. When you come at me aggressive, I'm just gonna hit you with the aggressiveness.
Exactly.
I'm going to treat it as a hostile situation. It's not to say that you can't talk to me on a regular basis, but if you're coming with hostility, expect to get it in return.
Exactly.
There's not a lot of people that rationalize the situation and try to work through it. Now, and it also comes with a power trip also, because some people feel, oh, because I have the badge, I have an authoritative state to come across. Now, we know a couple cops and everything like that. They're pretty I say evenly, they have pretty even thinking when it comes down to dealing with situations. And I respect their point of views as far as how they deal with situations.
I believe we both know cops who are even keel.
Yeah.
Strong-minded and even-minded, fairness and all that stuff, because we went to school with a few of them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's not. It's something beautiful to know that we got friends who are also police officers. We can bounce ideas off each other how to make the relation between police officer and citizen better. But the fact of the matter is, honestly, it's not the citizens that's the problem now.
No,
it's the police officers.
The police officers need more policing.
No, honestly, I hate to say this, bro. I think we spoke in private about martial law and National Guard. I believe the National Guard needs to be the overseers of the police departments now. Someone neutral.
Right.
We don't have to answer to the sergeant or lieutenant in the precincts anymore. I believe if I was president, I would invoke the National Guard as overseers of the police department.
It sounds like a good idea, but I could see it turning bad also, because in that situation, president dictates what the military does, even though it has its own chain of command. In that, they believe what the commander in chief, which is the president of the United States, is dictating to them. So whatever he says is dictated down the chain. There's no room for, I feel what you're saying, as far as a neutral atmosphere. It wouldn't be a neutral atmosphere.
But how many of our brothers and sisters, innocent brothers and sisters, are going to get killed?
Yeah.
For complying. A black man gets killed in his apartment because the officer went to the wrong apartment and shot him. When is that going to stop? That's the thing. And the thing is about the military, they know how to go into a hostile situation, and they're trained to de-escalate right away.
Now, I will say this.
Right.
If they were trained like the military, do not engage unless engaged upon.
Right.
It makes sense, but as an officer, if you can't wait to that moment.
No.
You can't.
No.
You can't wait to that moment. So I understand that point of view also. It's a very tricky situation as far as that, and it deserves a little bit more in-depth investigation as far as what can be done as far as that. But the same rules that of engagement the military does have, I will say that cops should follow the same thing.
Exactly.
There should be somebody on site to have the rationale to know how to deal with that situation.
Got to. You can't.
They have to. They have to have that rationale in that situation. You can't just go there with the authoritative figure. We had people in high school that were kind of like that. Oh, you're gonna do what I say because I told you to do it because I'm older than you.
Right.
It falls into the same category. Now you got a badge on you, and you feel that same machismo.
Exactly. But I don't know if you noticed, because I back in the day, back a few years ago, I posted them on Facebook. in which there is a law in which if the officer was operating outside the realm of the law, you
Mhm.
as a citizen can defend yourself up to the point that you can actually take the officer's life and not be prosecuted. There is a law, but
There is probably a law like that,
there
but
is a law, but you know what it is. They gonna find a way to circumvent that law, and you go to jail.
that's if you make it to court.
That's true.
There's a whole squad before you even get to that point.
Yeah, you got the corrections. You gotta get
And
through all that stuff. You gotta
not
get
for
through the
nothing,
precinct.
blue protects blue. Blue is gonna protect blue, and not for nothing. If my brother got into a fight and I knew this person was the one to cause injury, he may have to get it, just off principle, general purpose. He's gonna get it. Now, if you're speaking from that point of view, people understand it. But if you're speaking from, oh, he's a cop, he's supposed to. No, let's go. Let's go to the street.
Yeah,
Let's talk from a street point of view. My brother's getting beat, whatever the case may be. I'm getting him out of that situation. I'm doing whatever I got to do in that situation. Is it right? No, but at the same part, it isn't wrong because I'm protecting my brother.
right. That's that. Definitely there's a catch-22 in regards to that law, but that law does exist.
Yeah, I know it does exist. There's
It does
also one
exist.
above that in federal court that says it basically covers the actions of an officer and prosecution of an officer at the federal level. So all the stages that we go through on this level is it's still protected at the top.
Like I said, circumvention. That's why you don't never hear the law of the law.
Yeah. No. There's a law protecting that law.
The thing
Just in
is,
case, and call it the just in case shit.
it's funny because when we get pulled over, when a cop's coming to us aggressively, we have to still be the even one that's even keel.
Mm-hmm.
We got to be the one that has to cooperate.
Mm-hmm.
But yet you're coming at me with the aggression,
Total aggression.
and I'm like, and you come in with weapons. You come with guns. You come
Yeah.
with tasers. You come with nightsticks and handcuffs, where you could bound me and still beat me with a nightstick. He'll still tase me with the
Mm-hmm.
gun and still shoot me with a gun. I'm just coming in there with my bare hands. I'm like,
Right. Now, did you see did you see the one about the officers who detained a schizophrenic?
I
They
remember
detained they detained him and they wound up killing him just for trying to restrain him.
he's schizophrenic. There was another story in which I remember that story where the guy was with a person who had I believe was it Down syndrome or something like that,
Yeah.
and he was laying on the floor with his hands up, and the cop was getting ready to put a bullet in that kid with Down syndrome,
Yeah.
and it was a black guy too was trying to explain to the cop, listen, he has Down syndrome, he doesn't know what he's doing.
Right. The people in those positions that they get nervous and they interact the way they would normally interact. And a cop may mistake it as an act of aggression, and they already have uh, an interpretation of how they see their suspect already
Right,
before they even come to the scene. So the fears that they're fed through the media, through their interactions, through what they heard through friends, or whatever the case may be, they bring that to work. Now on the job, you're not going to be of rational mind. You're going to go back to that training, your instinct. Your
right,
instinct says to do this. Your instinct is not always correct.
right.
It's an interaction between you and that situation that happens at a blink of a second.
True, true. And the thing, another thing, another thing too. I mean, I got nothing but respect for officers, police officers
Yeah.
around the world, around the country, because they have a hard job to do. But by
Mm-hmm.
the same token, your first priority as a police officer, if I was ever a police officer, is not only to uphold the whole. You have to set the example of who you
Right. My I feel like my job, if I was a police officer, would be preserve life.
are. Yes.
Period. I want to preserve life and I want to preserve peace.
Well, isn't that part of their job?
Yeah.
You know, when
That's at the end of the day, I want everybody to go home. Nigga, I want to go home. I
oh,
want to get paid, but I want to go home too.
me as a person, me as a regular citizen, I want the cop to go home too.
Right. I want to get paid. I want to
I
go
want to go
home.
home.
I
I want to
want
sit
you to
there
go
and
home.
laugh.
Yeah.
You know, we chill, we have a great time, but you know what I'm saying? But be honest with what you're doing, and I'll be honest with you with what I'm doing. It
Right.
says there's a lot of cops who I got this situation with. You know, simple conversation. You know, this de-escalated the whole situation to the point I just get a warning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we shook hands and called a night. One cop actually, me and him went to get some coffee and donuts at Dunkin' Donuts at 2 o'clock in the morning. After he pulled me over for speeding, which he gave me a warning. It happens.
Right.
You know, it's all about how you go. It's all about how you approach people.
That's what it boils down to that, and I think we've done away with that because of a lot to do with social media because we're disconnected as far as communication with people. We don't have as many interactions that we were forced to have pre-dating cell phones and the internet now.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. We were forced to have conversations. Good morning, how are you? And things of that nature. We don't have that as much.
Anymore.
Now we have debates happening randomly from people across the seas.
Shoot. But let me ask you. Let me hit you up with another question. We know we spoke about this, you know, private conversations.
Mm-hmm.
Now, these two attacks, these two
Mm-hmm.
mass shootings, do you think it's a test?
Do you feel it's a situation to test a response?
Test the response of the entire nation.
I wouldn't be surprised. Honestly, I would say that our president's term is almost up. We got to test the waters.
Exactly.
We got to test the waters and see how people are going to interact
Right.
with these situations. How are they feeling about the situation? Is it going to escalate the point? Is it going to escalate the people's anger to the point where we have to impose martial law,
Right.
where we do have to create borders and things of that nature?
Right.
How are the people actually really feeling about this? Can we create some type of civil war where we have people literally on opposite sides getting at each other while we sit back and mastermind the situation? I mean, we can ask these questions, and I feel like it's fair game. It wouldn't be fair not to think about that too.
Right. Right.
You know what I'm saying? It may be far-fetched to some, but if you're playing chess, you have to look at the whole board.
Mm-hmm.
Who's to say this play is not in effect and we're just missing it because we're looking at something else?
True. True. But another thing too, I mean, I'm much we want to say this guy's term is up in 2020. He got a large following. He got the masses. If we don't go, if we as people, minority people, people of not just minority people, but people of sane mind, a mind of unity that we need to come together and become one as people. If we don't show up at that ballot box and vote, we're gonna have 4 more years of this nonsense, and it's only gonna get worse from here. You know what I'm saying? That's something that we as people got to come together, not just the minorities, but the white, but also the white people who have our mindset and be like, listen, we got to cut the bullshit out. This is a whole lot of bullshit for nothing.
Yeah.
For what?
Listen.
It doesn't matter. By the end of the day, unless you're God, you have no control what goes on in your life until you don't have no control of the next second of your life.
No. So we get so caught up in our stances.
Mm-hmm.
We get caught up in our stances, and my view is more valuable than your view, and I'm right, and you have to be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, end of the day, you'll find out who was right and who was wrong. But we in the middle of that, we have a life to live.
Exactly. And you think as people we want to sit there and be in war all the time for our life. We want to do party. What we want to do is party and bullshit. Work, party, and bullshit.
I mean,
that's
what it boils down to.
That's it. Have a big smile on your face. Go home to your wife, kiss your wife, make love to your wife, and then wake up next morning, go to work, do the same thing all over again with a smile on your face.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's what we want to hope to do when we live our lives. Instead of
Yeah.
worry about petty nonsense and you go into Walmart, you got to worry about you gonna get shot at Walmart.
No, I don't want to. I don't want to be put in a position where I'm actually thinking, should we take the family out, or should I just chance going to the store by myself?
Shoot, listen, you go in there, you go to Walmart to buy a bicycle, you may get shot. Get a nice 26-inch BMX or Husky bike, a mountain bike you want to get, and then also you get shot.
Then they're talking. The other thing was talking about beefing up security at local spots. I mean, it's
You don't need that. You don't need that. You need to study. What you need to do as the president is stop spewing this freaking racist rhetoric that he's been spewing,
yeah,
and everything will calm down. But you notice when he gave that so-called press conference in the Oval Office or whatever office he does it from, you could tell that motherfucker's reading the teleprompter.
he has to.
Someone had that shit carefully prepared because they were about decision 2020.
He has to in situations like this because he doesn't want to over exacerbate anything. Like people don't want to. You don't want to over anger people. And like I said, we're close to that election. We're close to that election, so he wants to make sure his numbers look right.
That's right.
He wants to make sure his numbers look right. Now, I hope he doesn't get back into office as far as the next term.
Me neither.
But my other thing is like who's next? Like who do we have coming next that's worthy of the throne? This is the new Game of Thrones.
I'm at a point now. I don't even know anymore.
Yeah, I was hoping we could get some type of Khaleesi up in here.
We don't need a female president right now. I'm sorry to say that we don't need that right now. We don't have the right candidate running for president. For that, we don't have the right female candidate to run for president. We didn't have it 4 years ago. We don't have it now. Let's not try to break the wheel when the wheel. Let's not break the wheel let's not break the wheel for a weaker wheel,
Okay.
as I would like to put it.
Okay.
You got the nice wheel who has no flats, none of that stuff, and then you're gonna replace it with a wheel that got holes and stuff that you gotta patch up.
Yeah.
Going in, because that's exactly how Trump run the presidency.
Yeah.
You had a wheel that was facing him that pretty much had holes all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
Holes of I don't know if you want to call it corruption or stealing money from Haiti and stuff like that. Controls Haiti's finances and gold. I'm gonna leave it there.
It all boils down to it, and I think the hardest part about having this president in office, besides the racist part of everything, is he's a businessman first and foremost. In the end, his agenda is to gain something from this term,
Right.
Whether it's the 4 years, whether it's the 8 years. In the end, him and his family are going to be okay after this is all done.
Well, you know what it is. You know what it is, though. He don't have to pay taxes. He made that tax. He made those tax reforms based on his personal situation. Truth be told.
Mm-hmm.
Truth be told, he did that on the basis of that.
Mm.
You believe after 20 years of paying taxes, I started paying taxes I was 18 years old when I was working my first job. This is the first time ever that I have to pay taxes back.
Mm.
First time ever. Because you put the caps on how much deductions you could request.
Right.
So you already know how I feel about this president. He's not mentally fit to be a president.
Mm.
He's actually dangerous to the cause.
Right.
I know his supporters may fight me tooth and nail in regards to that, but he is dangerous to the entire fabric of this country. He's a danger. He's a danger to the entire fabric of the Constitution, because the Constitution does give him executive orders and rights of executive privileges, in which he's using to further cement his agenda.
Right.
So that's dangerous. That's dangerous all to itself. So whoever's president, I hope they come in there and reverse everything, reverse tax reform ASAP. So I start getting refunds again.
Right.
So that's pretty much it on my end. Is how I want to speak about the situation. I just hope we can live in a country there's no more mass shootings like we just had just now. Because let me tell you something. As much we want to talk about other countries and stuff like that, you never heard of a country going to a school and shoot up a school. You never heard of another country going in there shooting up their own citizens, going to a store to shoot up a store.
Right.
Never heard that stuff here.
Oh.
And this president don't understand that there's the people outside people around the world who are sitting there just giggling and laughing at us.
Right. I mean, we had respect. Before this president came in office, there was a respect for the United States. They may have not agreed with all of our policies and backed us 100%, but at least they could look at the United States and be like, well, at least they have a good president.
Exactly.
Now it's just like, this is a joke. It's like we talked harshly about George Bush when he was in office, but in comparison, I don't feel he was that bad.
No, he wasn't.
I don't feel like he was that bad in comparison to Donald Trump. I would rather him in office currently. And it's sad to say that.
It is sad to say that, but you know what? Another thing too, he himself's not a big fan of Trump either. So,
yes, their family is business orientated. They have business deals working behind the scene. But they know how to, they're politically savvy and they know how to negotiate. They know how to negotiate. They know when to show aggression and they know when to back down as far as that, to have diplomacy. Right. This president is just working off a capitalist point of view, whereas I'm not backing down and you're going to bully your way to get what you want. That's what you do in capitalism. That's what you do in business. That's how you take over companies. That's how you get what you want. I get that, but it doesn't work for the presidency.
No, it doesn't. It
doesn't work for the presidency.
Because the things that you catering to millions of people, not just to your not just to your masses, but to millions of people, which you got to get them on your side also.
This is a voice of the people. He's not a voice of my people.
Right.
He's not a voice of the people that I know. And if you really want to be technical, even the racists, he's not speaking for them either, because bottom line, his pockets are still getting filled while they're sitting there.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna kill that nigger over there. I don't like him. We're gonna kill them immigrants and get them out of our country. Meanwhile, he still got money. You still broke.
Right. Bottom line.
Yeah.
And you're the fall guy on that.
Exactly.
You're the fall guy on that. He still sits on his throne. That's how business works. That's how business works.
That's how it works. That's how it works. There's nothing. The only thing we can do is to vote him out of office. Forget about the impeachment. It makes no sense to impeach someone who got a year left. It makes no sense. What's the purpose?
At this point in the term, it's not going to happen anyway, because they have to go through a whole proceeding in order for that to happen. It's not going to cut anything short, and he still has a chance for re-election, it makes it worse, because it's like, you just got stabbed. Now we're just going to put some salt in the wound.
Exactly. It's crazy. So yeah, like I said, man, let's cut this bullshit out. That kid, I remember he mentioned, we're gonna give him the death penalty. I don't want that kid to get the death penalty. I want both of them to get the death penalty.
I feel like they should be made examples of.
Exactly.
I'm not a big fan. I'm not a big fan of the death penalty for the simple reason, if you impacted that many lives, you should live your rest of your life in a cell thinking about what you did. You shouldn't have no luxuries.
Right.
You shouldn't have no luxuries, and you're not going to take the easy way out as far as death is concerned. No, we're going to make you live those lives, and not only that, you're going to be reminded of those people that you killed each day, where you're interacting with your other cellmates,
Mm-hmm.
and you look them in the face and see if you could do the same thing you did to them.
Let me tell you something. What they should do is put those boys in Gen Pop day one.
Yeah.
While they're waiting trial. Put them in Gen Pop. And we'll see how tough you are.
Right. Bottom line.
They'll be turned out in 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
Either turned out, they're going to get beat up, then turned out, and all in 5 days. Guarantee you.
I believe that's a better method as far as that's concerned. You're going to give somebody the death penalty. Now they're dead. They're gone. They have nothing to worry about.
And don't let the lawyers give you mental illness. Don't let the lawyers do that shit. He should not. Both them boys should never be in no freaking mental institution. They need to be in prison.
They knew exactly what they were doing.
Exactly.
They led up to that point and everything like that. Everything they did, they calculated everything they did. They planned it out. They made a manifesto, all of that. So, no, they don't get that.
Not at all. Not at all. Not at all. Bury them suckers. You know what I'm saying? Let them be, like I said, let them be in Gen Pop.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's my opinion about this situation. And anything else you want to add to this, bro?
I hope I was even across the board and I didn't step over any lines to offend people. That's not my intent. I'm just giving you my point of view on things, and I hope it's received in a matter of a different perspective. That's all I was trying to do as far as this was concerned. I wanted to do this podcast because I was very animate about the situation. I have too many people that I know and grew up with that are affected with fear because of this situation.
Right.
And it's just distasteful that we have this going on in our country. And I hope that we can progress from these situations, get stricter gun laws, and not just the caliber of the weapon, but also the amount of ammunition that you need. If you're using this for hunting or protection, there's only a certain amount of ammunition that you need in order to make that possible. You don't need 100 drum clips and things of that nature. That's a bit much.
So homeboy was going to punish her. You know what I'm saying? So my thing is, we had a True Playaz podcast. We're gonna keep it bluntly. We're gonna keep it blunt. We're gonna keep it honest with you guys. If you guys listen to the show, you get offended. I tell you. But it's time for us to look ourselves in the mirror and be honest with you, honest with each other, honest with the person that you look in the mirror.
Right. And we can have a hard conversation. I don't want nobody sitting there having feelings over the situation, but at the same part, I want you to know my point of view. That when you see me, you respect me for my point of view. You may not respect my whole thing, but you understand where I'm coming from. You can treat me as such. That's all.
And just instead of just give me the fake empathy, I understand where you come from. No. I'm voicing to you exactly where I'm coming from, and what are you going to do about it to bring change upon it? What are you going to do within yourself to change?
Right. That's what's needed.
It takes one person to change.
Right.
Once one person changes, everyone will change.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So we all got bills to pay. We all got lives to live. You know, we try to do the best we can with what we got.
We don't need these situations making it harder to grow and build families and have our children grow up and have to deal with the same situations. Absolutely.
So we're gonna end this podcast right now. Like I said, my podcast is on JoeyG Radio. Definitely go on his website. Listen to it on JoeyG Radio. We're on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Breaker Podcast, Spreaker, and also Anchor Podcast. Any questions, any feedback from the podcast, definitely hit me up on truplayaz at gmail.com, which is TRUPLAYAZ at gmail.com. JoeyG, if you want to give them your information, if they want to give their feedback to you as well, let them know.
hit me up at Twitter at JoeyG Radio, or you could hit me up on my email at joeygradio@gmail.com.
All right, Joey G, thanks very much for your time on this podcast. Once again, I love having you on the show. This is real blunt. This is what true players are. We both are true players, and we bring it hardcore in your face. We don't care what anybody says. If you got a problem, speak on it. If you have a problem and you keep your mouth shut, we don't know you. Plain and simple.
Plain and simple.
So we're gonna sign off on this podcast. I hit y'all. We'll hit you back, guys, up with another episode. Again, we're gonna talk about we're going right back to the Mets and they're winning streak right now. 13 out of 14 games. Stay tuned for the next episode. It's coming real soon. Peace.